Lucy TABIT.
I will be submitting written testimony, but I'm a little confused about why there is such a great deal amount of protecting pesticide applicators. I think we can go back and simply say that when a pesticide is applied, bees should not be flying. And I think that's been the basic rule of thumb in years gone by. So I asked the committee in front of me, why is that not being taken into consideration? And also, why haven't more beekeepers been included in the drafting of this plan? You have a great resource available just for the asking, and you have not come to us, but instead have put something before us that lacks a lot of directive, a lot of protection for pollinators in general. You don't address pollinators, you address just honeybees and managed beehives. So if it's a pollinator protection plan you're trying to enact, what happened to all the other pollinators? Are we discounting them as well? That's a question I'd like to have answered. The state should not be punitive to the beekeepers. We're here as your assets. With this plan, it looks like you're trying to discourage beekeepers by imposing fines, allowing pesticides to be loosely regulated, and provide more oppressive state and local regulations on beekeepers. You should create responsibility to help beekeepers and pollinators in general. And we're speaking for pollinators in general, not just honeybees that we manage. I would like to know why non-beekeepers keep telling beekeepers how to keep bees. And I was hoping I'd get that answer today.
It's a listening session. I'm not prepared to give a response. Yes, Lucy.
I failed to mention that I've been a beekeeper for over 15 years now. And I too have seen the effects of neonicotinoids on bees. I was, up until about 2006, 2008 period, I had about 10-15% losses during winter into the spring. I'm now getting 90 to 100% losses. As of 3 weeks ago, checking the hives, I had 50% losses. So I'm seeing that trend where the bees falter when they're coming out of the winter, because now they're going through their pollen and their nectar, which is laced with what was collected earlier in the season. Now, as a previous speaker had mentioned, it would probably be best if both beekeepers and farmers were brought together to the table so that we can understand what each other needs. I don't expect a farmer to know what a beekeeper needs or what bees know, unless he's a beekeeper as well. There have been thousands of studies coming out in the last 6 months showing what perils the neonicotinoids are bringing to beekeeping now. But to assume on the part of someone who does not keep bees what is best for bees is very counterproductive. And we should all come to the table. We're willing to help in any way to make this a working, productive document.
I've kept hives on other people's properties. I'm not a major commercial beekeeper like the Cards. I don't move my hives, they stay where they are. And I've done this now for quite a few years. I've kept colonies, a colony alive for quite a few years without it crashing. I didn't have problems with managing varroa mites. If you know how to do that, your hives will thrive. And I had no problem with that. So I want to dispel the myth that it's just the varroa mites. It's not just the varroa mites. What happens is the varroa mites do their damage, but then you have pesticides coming in that don't allow the bee to recover from the damage done. So we need help with that. We can't do that, but you can. You can help us with the pesticides. Somehow we have to find a common ground, and we have to come to a table and understand what our agricultural community needs to know from the beekeepers, because they can't know everything about bees, and what we need to know about the agricultural community. If we could gain a better understanding of each other, I think we have a basis to go forward.
Yeah.